Let's get the argument out of the way in the first 10 seconds. Kylian Mbappé is not on this list. He won a World Cup as a teenager, he scored in the final as a teenager, and he still isn't top 5. That's how brutal this list is. Because in almost 100 years of World Cups, only a handful of players have ever lifted the trophy while they were still teenagers. And the 5 youngest are not the 5 names you'd guess. 2 of them barely played. 1 of them never played at all. And the youngest of the lot set a record 68 years ago that nobody, not Mbappé, not Yamal, not anyone, has come within a year of touching. So here they are. The 5 youngest World Cup winners in history, counted down from 5 to 1. And number 1? Number 1 will make you feel very, very old. Number 5. And it's not Mbappé. It's a man most of you have never heard of. Coutinho, Brazil, 1962. 19 years and 6 days old. If you know the name at all, you know it from Santos. Because Coutinho was Pelé's strike partner, the other half of the most feared front 2 on earth. He was supposed to start that World Cup. He was supposed to be the story. And then, days before it began, he got injured. And he never kicked a ball in the tournament. Not 1 minute. Brazil won it anyway. And a 19-year-old who spent the whole thing in the stands went home a world champion. Remember his age, 19 years and 6 days. It's about to come back. Number 4. LAMINE YAMAL. Spain 2026. The name you clicked for, and here's the part I promised you. 19 years and 6 days old. Read that again. Identical. To the day. 64 years apart, a Brazilian who never got on the pitch and a Spaniard who tore the tournament apart are tied to the exact same age, down to a single day. It is the strangest coincidence in the history of this record. So call it 4, call it 5, call it a dead heat, and fight about it in the comments. Because that's genuinely what it is. What isn't a coincidence is what Yamal did with his. He didn't watch. He dethroned Messi's Argentina in the final, walked over afterward, and said sorry. He didn't have to. The record books were already saying it for him. Number 3, and this is the one nobody remembers. GIUSEPPE BERGOMI. Italy, 1982. 18 years and 174 days. Now everyone above him on this list has a footnote. Injured, benched, along for the ride. Bergomi has the opposite. Italy lost Antonioni to injury, and the coach turned to an 18-year-old kid with a mustache like a retired postman and told him he was starting the World Cup final. His job that night at the Bernabeu, man mark Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, the reigning best player in Europe. Rummenigge was so completely erased from that game that they took him off in the second half. Italy won 3-1. They called Bergomi the uncle, because even at 18 he looked 40. He is the youngest man ever to start a World Cup final and win it doing an actual job. And that makes number 2 even harder to believe. Number 2, Ronaldo. Not the Portuguese one, the original. The Brazilian phenomenon. 17 years and 298 days old, 1994. And he did not play a single minute. Not one. He sat on that bench for the entire tournament, a 17-year-old kid watching Romario win it, and he still flew home a world champion. Think about what that means. The man who would become, for about 3 years, the most terrifying footballer who has ever lived, owns a World Cup medal from a tournament he never touched a ball in. 4 years later, he'd be the best player on the planet. 8 years later, he'd win one for real and score twice in that final. But officially, forever. In the record book that counts. Ronaldo won his first World Cup at 17, from a seat, which leaves exactly one man. Number 1. You knew it. And it still isn't close. Pelé. Brazil, 1958, 17 years and 249 days old. 49 days younger than Ronaldo. And where Ronaldo watched, Pelé did the exact opposite of everyone else on this list. He scored 6 goals in that tournament. He scored a hat trick in the semi-final against France at 17. And then he scored twice in the final itself, in a 5-2 win over Sweden, and cried on a teammate's shoulder on the pitch. Every other name here has an asterisk: injured, benched, given a job and did it well. Pelé is the only one who was, at 17 years old, the best player in the tournament he won. Not the youngest passenger, the youngest superstar. 17 years, 249 days. So, why has nobody touched it in 68 years? Look at the gap. Pelé is 17 years and 249 days. The next teenager to win one, Yamal, is 19 years and 6 days. That's a chasm of nearly a year and a half at an age when a year and a half is a lifetime. And football has moved the wrong way for breaking it. Squads are older, fitter, more conservative. National team managers do not hand World Cup minutes to 16-year-olds, and the ones who would gamble need a generational talent to arrive in the exact window of a tournament year. Pelé needed to be the best player alive at 17, on a team good enough to win the whole thing in the one summer it was on. To beat him, you don't just need another Pelé. You need another Pelé born in precisely the right year. So there it is. Coutinho, who never played. Yamal tied with him to the day. Bergomi, who man-marked a legend into the ground at 18. A 17-year-old Ronaldo who watched the whole thing from a bench. And Pelé, who at 17 was simply the best player in the world. Now some of you are already typing because the tie at 4 and 5 is a real argument and I know it. So settle it for me. Who is your youngest ever and where does the tie break? Be specific. A name, an age, and a year or it doesn't count. And subscribe. Because next we count down the 5 fastest footballers alive in real recorded kilometers per hour. And number 1 is not who the internet keeps telling you it is.